Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Denver, we have a problem, and it is the best kind of problem a football team could possibly have. Training camp is knocking on the door, practically breathing down our necks, and 30 days after that first practice, Sean Payton and George Paton are going to be staring at a 91-man roster that has to somehow, some way, get chopped down to 53 by August 30th. Sounds simple on paper. It is anything but. Because when you scroll through this Broncos roster top to bottom, you are not looking at a team with holes to fill. You are looking at a team drowning in talent. A roster so deep and so loaded that somebody, somewhere, is going to walk into a coach's office this summer and get some of the worst news of their career. Not because they are not good enough for the NFL, but because they are not good enough for this specific, ridiculously stacked Denver Broncos roster. Stick around because we are about to break down position by position exactly how brutal this is going to get, and trust me, by the end of this, you are going to understand why Sean Payton might need a vacation before he even gets to training camp. Before we dive into the chaos, if you have not smashed that like button yet, do it now. Drop a comment telling me who you think gets cut and who you think survives, and hit subscribe so you do not miss a single Broncos breakdown this summer. Because this offseason is about to get wild. Let's start with the quarterback room, because even the easy positions are not actually easy this year. Bo Nix is your guy, no debate, no conversation needed there. Everybody wants to talk about his ankle, how it looked at the end of last season, whether it is going to hold up. I am already done with that storyline. His ankle is going to be fine, the real intrigue is behind him. Jarrett Stidham is almost certainly walking into training camp as the backup again, just like last year. While Sam Ehlinger gets stashed on the practice squad, maybe suited up for a game or two if the situation calls for it. Nobody in this league manages a practice squad quarterback situation better than Sean Payton. The man has pulled this exact move 100 times, developing arms quietly in the background without committing real money until he absolutely has to. So quarterback, as crazy as the rest of this roster is, that one is basically locked in. Now let's talk running backs, because this room got a serious glow-up. J.K. Dobbins is your starter on day one. We have talked this to death all offseason, how he is back to full strength, back to looking like the explosive back Denver thought they were getting. He is your lead guy, and right behind him is the rookie who led every single rookie in the league in touchdowns last year. That is your 1-2 punch. Then there is Jonah Coleman, and he is making this roster. Full stop, no debate. The fascinating wrinkle here is his ability to pass block, something he flashed constantly in college, physically dominating pass rushers and tossing them aside like they were nothing. If Sean Payton, a coach who historically does not hand rookies the keys to protecting his quarterback, decides he trusts Coleman in pass protection, that could fast-track him into serious playing time and push a young back like Tyler Badie right out of the picture. My prediction is the Broncos keep 4 running backs again this year. J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, Jonah Coleman, and Jaleel McLaughlin, who has quietly become one of Sean Payton's favorite reclamation projects on this roster. Drop a comment and let me know if you think Badie steals that 4th spot instead, or if you think this is a position where Denver actually keeps 5 backs instead of 4 this year. And do not forget the fullback spot, because Adam Prentice is almost certainly making this roster right back again. Now here is where things start to spiral. Wide receiver. Courtland Sutton is obviously locked in, a legitimate top 100 player in this entire league, a bona fide dog on the outside. Then you have the newest weapon in the building, Jalen Waddle, whose big play speed is about to feed a lot of Denver families some serious fantasy points this year. Troy Franklin is making the roster. Pat Bryant, the rookie Sean Payton immediately compared to Marquise Colston and Marvin Mims the moment Denver drafted him, is making the roster too. That is 5 names. Now here is the kicker. That is the exact same 5 wide receivers Denver kept last season. Except last year, Denver got burned by cutting a receiver they desperately wish they had kept. Lil Jordan Humphrey, a guy who got scooped up off waivers from another team and turned into an absolute steal down the stretch. By December, this man was playing on 70% of Denver's offensive snaps. For the full season, he still logged 36% of the offense and 13% of special teams. You do not just say goodbye to production like that twice. So my prediction is Lil Jordan Humphrey makes this roster again, which means wide receiver is already sitting one player over the number from last season. That is problem number one, and we are only 2 positions in. Tight end. Oh boy. Buckle up, because this might be the most stacked, most impossible position on the entire roster. Adam Troutman is locked in, fresh off a new contract. Evan Engram should make the team too. Although I will put a little question mark next to his name simply because his name has come up in trade rumors as a possible cap-saving move. My gut says he sticks around. After that, it gets murky fast. I think it comes down to Nate Adkins or Adam Prentice, and historically Denver has not carried both of those roles at once from a numbers standpoint. My prediction, and I am flipping on this one, give me Nate Adkins over Adam Prentice at that spot. But we are still not done, because this is also where Sean Payton has been hyping up Caleb Lohner, last year's 7th-round pick who he already called a standout of organized team activities. Except last season, the actual breakout star of those same practices was Lucas Krull, a guy who has been in every offseason photo alongside Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham all summer long. On top of that, Denver just drafted Justin Jolie and feels genuinely good about his upside. That means you have got 5 tight ends fighting for spots that realistically only fit 3 or 4. Jolie is basically a lock as the newest draft investment. That leaves Caleb Lohner, Lucas Krull, and one more name battling for the scraps, hoping whoever loses out can sneak onto the practice squad without another team snatching them up. We already saw other teams try to poach Caleb Lohner off Denver's practice squad last year, and he did not budge, so I doubt he survives another year buried on the practice squad if he does not make the 53. Give me Caleb Lohner making the active roster, and unfortunately, I think that means there is no room left for Lucas Krull. Let's tally this up before we move to the offensive line because it is already getting messy. Same numbers at quarterback and running back compared to last year. 1 player over at receiver, 1 player over at tight end. And we have not even touched special teams yet. We are already sitting at 17 just on the skill positions. Offensive line was the strength of this entire football team last season, and Sean Payton is not about to mess with something that is already working. Garrett Bowles, Mike McGlinchey, and the swing tackle depth are all making this roster without a second thought. At guard, the big question is whether Ben Powers survives final cuts or gets moved before the deadline for financial reasons. For the sake of this breakdown, let's say he sticks around. Quinn Miners is obviously locked in, arguably a Pro Bowl or All-Pro caliber piece up front. Then you have got the young guard Denver believes in from Boise, and a versatile lineman who was actually the presumed starting swing guard heading into last year's camp before an injury derailed those plans. All 5 of those names make this roster, which means the interior offensive line is already 3 players over what Denver carried last season. Add in 2 more names locked in at center, and suddenly this offensive line room alone is sitting at 27 players when you tally the whole offense. That is simply too many bodies for 53 total spots. And we still have an entire defense to get through. So let's move fast to the defensive side of the ball because the story here is just as loaded. The best defensive line in football is largely running it back. Zach Allen, DJ Jones, and Malcolm Roach are all no-brainer locks. The one name missing from last year is gone, but Denver is replacing him with real juice, including this year's first-round rookie investment up front, who is making this roster without question. Quinn Minor's counterpart on defense, the standout interior piece from a season ago, is not just making the roster. I am predicting he gets a brand new contract extension before training camp even opens. Write that prediction down. Then you have a young pass rusher I think takes a legitimate leap this season. The real logjam comes down to two names competing for a single depth spot up front. One guy, Sean Payton, was reportedly frustrated, did not see more snaps during a tough Buffalo loss last year, and another talented lineman who has battled injuries throughout his career. My money is on the first guy winning that battle, filling the void left behind at defensive end and keeping this defensive line every bit as dangerous as it was a season ago. Outside linebacker might be the single deepest, nastiest room on this entire roster. Arguably one of the best pass rushing duos in the whole NFL. Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper are both locked in. If Jonathan Cooper were ever getting cut, that move would have happened quietly over a holiday weekend, buried in the news cycle, and it did not happen, so he is safe. Jonah Ellis is making this roster. Dondrea Tillman is making this roster. K. Robinson is making this roster. And now here is where it gets painful, because you also have an incredible undrafted success story who flashed serious ability, plus another pass rusher who is genuinely one of the best redemption arcs in this entire draft class. A player who followed his father through stop after stop in college football before finally landing here. My prediction is Denver finds a way to keep that redemption story on the roster, which means this group too ends up one player over the number from a season ago. Somebody with real talent may have to hope they can hide on the practice squad for a full year without another team noticing. Inside linebacker looks stable on paper. I do not think Denver pulls the trigger on any of the trade rumors currently swirling around this room. Alex Singleton and Justin Sternad both return. Behind them, expect several other familiar depth names to round out the group. Except once again, this position is sitting one player over the roster limit from last season, meaning somebody currently expected to make the team might instead need to hope they slip through waivers unclaimed and land back on the practice squad. Cornerback, thankfully, is refreshingly simple, mostly because it might be the best cornerback room in the entire NFL. Patrick Surtain II is the unquestioned number one. Riley Moss makes it. Jaquan McMillian makes it. Jahdae Barron makes it. Add one more proven veteran presence in the room, and that is your same five corners as a year ago. There is a young developmental corner worth keeping an eye on as a potential practice squad stash if injuries strike, but as long as nobody in that starting five gets traded this summer, this position sails through cutdown day without any drama whatsoever. Safety brings a little more intrigue. Justin Simmons is gone from this specific equation now, replaced by the rookie Denver drafted out of Illinois, who profiles as an absolute dog on tape. JL. Skinner battled injuries for most of last season, but is fully healthy now and looks like an athletic, ball-hawking presence who is making this roster with ease. Add in the presence of Brandon Jones locking down another safety spot, and you have got a full, talented room ready to roll. And then, just when you think the math could not possibly get any worse, we arrive at specialists. Kicker, punter, long snapper. By the time you tally every single projected roster spot across offense, defense, and these specialist roles, Denver is sitting somewhere in the mid to high 50s, several players over the 53-man limit. Somebody talented, somebody who absolutely deserves to be in the NFL, is not making this team, and that is before we even talk about who gets stashed on the practice squad successfully versus who gets scooped up by another desperate franchise. So who actually gets cut? Here is my best guess at how Denver navigates this mess. Remember, the exact roster construction that carried Denver to an AFC 1 seed and a playoff berth last season is not something you blow up carelessly. So look at the positions sitting over the number compared to last year and start trimming there. At receiver, I think Denver rolls the dice again and tries to sneak Lil Jordan Humphrey back onto the practice squad rather than the active 53, hoping lightning does not strike twice. On the offensive line, my bold prediction is Ben Powers gets traded or released outright, a move that helps both the salary cap situation and the numbers crunch, especially with zero drop-off in play when his replacement stepped in last season. At outside linebacker, painful as it is, I think Denver has to let go of that redemption story pass rusher, hoping he clears waivers and returns on the practice squad. At safety, I think the rookie out of Illinois somehow slides through unclaimed if a corresponding move is needed elsewhere. And at inside linebacker, I think the newest depth addition ends up the odd man out, with hopes he can float onto the practice squad if nobody else claims him first. Look, an absolutely impossible task is sitting right in front of Sean Payton and George Paton this summer, and honestly, that is a wonderful problem to have. Training camp is one short week away, folks. You can feel football season creeping back into the air, or maybe that is just wildfire smoke, but either way, Broncos country, we have got an awful lot to be excited about heading into this season. So here is what I need from you. Smash that like button if you made it this far. Drop a comment down below telling me exactly who you think gets cut and who survives this roster crunch. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now so you never miss a single Broncos breakdown all summer long. This is Broncos, and we will see you in the next one.